We are live. How are you doing?
Tired.
You're tired. Well, I have got Oakley with me, hanging out. Oakley Wiesner, her mom is Ivy, our worship leader. And today you were in the office. I said, I got to have you back on the show of as we are putting out videos each and every week to kind of go through. So this time we're here and we are on Cornerstones. And we're going through this for the church, kind of trying to talk through these things. I know you're in youth group on Wednesdays when we're with the families with kids in our small group, our growth group. Going through Cornerstones is one of the things we talk about. So we got the big question for the day. Are you ready for the big question?
Yes.
So today is part of our 30-30 challenge. Maybe you've jumped in. I'm glad to have you with us. But we're trying to get people to go into the Bible, into their book, with each other in their families for 30 minutes for the month, for 30 days. And go more, but just get started. So our question is going to come for you guys from question number 22. The question is going to be in the section on God. What does it mean that God is omnipresent? What does it mean that God is omnipresent? So let's get to the answer in just a moment, but let me ask you. You and I have kind of talked about this already, and God being omnipresent. Have you heard that word before?
Not really.
How often do you throw around the word omnipresent in your day-to-day?
Not very often.
Not very often. I would agree that most of us don't probably talk about that. So let's talk about the definition, and here's what it says. God is omnipresent, which means he's not confined to a body and is everywhere at once.
That's crazy.
God is omnipresent means he's not confined to a body and he's everywhere at once. So let's talk about what that means. So if God is omnipresent, it means that he is everywhere all the time at once. He's not limited in one area. So, I mean, think about us. We're pretty limited, right?
Yes, very.
You're limited to right here, right now. In fact, at the door that way is her mom saying, we were going to try to leave on time. I'm sorry to the Wiesners because we spent so much time trying to get our green screen to work, which didn't work. I'm going to have it better next time. But, you can't physically say, I'll be here doing the video and just leave and I'll pop up into the car magically. I'll be with you, right? We can't do that, right? You're stuck here with me on footage doing this, right? Okay, so but God is not, right? God is everywhere at all times. Here's something to understand. God is not part here and part there. Like God is not half in America and half in Europe. He's not, right? God is everywhere. So that's something that's important to know is that when he's everywhere, he's always all places at all times. Now let's look at the Bible verse that can talk about this, right? So this is a set of verses that I think are important. This comes from Psalm 139. It says, where can I go to escape your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I live at the eastern horizon or settle at the western limits, even there, your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold on to me. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light around me will be night. Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day, and darkness and light are alike to you. So think about what we just read there, right? He's saying there's no place you can go that's far from God. You ever think about I used to scuba dive.
Ooh.
And when I did that in high school, and you would think about if I go deeper and deeper and deeper,
what would you find?
Well, I wondered what I would find. It would get weird down there, but God's there. I can't go. That's what he's saying. I can't go deep enough and you're not there. God is not limited by water. You think about those guys going to outer space, right?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
You think about, I would like to go there one day. Maybe we'll get a rocket. Maybe they'll send us into outer space with airplanes. They're talking about doing that sometime. But think about this. Let's say we're on a rocket to Mars. And I start to pray, is God there? Can God hear me? God is not limited by any place. There is no place that you can go that's far from God. So let's talk about that for a second too. There's one more verse that I want us to think about, and it's actually going to come from Jesus's lips. And notice what Jesus says. He says, in the Great Commission. He says at the very end, he says, and remember, I'm with you always, even to the end of the age. Meaning that Jesus is always with us all the time wherever we go. So there's two big pieces to this, right? Here's a couple things to remember. If God is with you always, that could be one of two things. So first off, like you and I were talking about, right? If God is with us always, what does that mean in terms of like our sin, right? It means that God sees, right? He can see, like you and I were talking, like, how is it easier to sin? Is it easier when you're right in front of your family, or is it easier when they're not around?
Not around.
I think for most people, I've talked to lots of people who have said that it is easier when no one's around, no one's looking. But the truth is, if God sees everything, does that mean that God is always with you, right? Mm-hmm. He is always seeing everything. And so that should help stop us, right? So if I want to do something sinful, I should be reminded that God sees. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't think that just because I'm all by myself doesn't mean he's not with me right there. But there's another part, right? What's the really, you and I were talking about this earlier. What's the good thing about God being with us always? Why is that a hopeful thing and a good thing to you?
I just feel like that he's the only one that like makes sure that we're being good, being safe, and like all that stuff.
Yeah, like that no matter what, you can always pray and he can always hear and he's always near. He's never going to leave you. Even if you've had times where it's been really rough, even if you're alone by yourself, he's always with you. You may think that nobody else knows what you're feeling, but God knows what you're feeling. God's with you right then. And so there's some things I want you to think about. Go through, and if you have the parent guide, guys, there's some really cool things to talk about. The fact that God is with us in different ways. Sometimes he's with us to kind of discipline us. Sometimes he's there to encourage. He's with us differently as Christians than he is with non-Christians too. So lots of things to think about there. But I do think this idea of God being everywhere all the time should be a really comforting thing and should also stop us from our, how we would want to sin if we keep in mind he's always with us. All right, Oakley, you want to say anything else before we sign off while we're done?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I know you are. You and I, here's what we're going to do next time. Oakley, I'm going to bring you in. We're going to sit with coffees here.
I can't do coffee.
And, well, we're going to sit with Red Bulls.
No, not Red Bulls.
We're going to sit with, if you go to GCU, you're going to sit and drink what do they call it? Stampede.
I can't do those.
Then we're going to sit with something that wakes us up. All right.
Like sugar.
Sugar. I could get enough of that. That would be nice. Oh, no. All right. No sugar. What? I don't know anymore.
No baked cookies.
What? No baked cookie? How about just cookie dough? Oh my goodness. You don't like cookie dough?
I do like cookie dough, but if it has yogurt in it, I can't do. I don't like yogurt.
I wouldn't. Why would I? I don't want to put yogurt in my cookie doughs. I just want straight up raw dough with chocolate chips.
Like Cookie Monster.
Oh, Cookie Mama. All right, guys, it's been fun. Think about omnipresence, how you can talk about it with your kids, with your family. If you don't have a family nearby, kids, just think about that concept for you. Share it with somebody else that God is with us all the time, and he's not limited at all. You cannot find a place that God will not be there with you. All right, we're done. Time to get some coffee.
Yes.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. And